Renewed outrage over the latest spate of police violence caught on video. This one out of Arizona has got the community outraged. A pregnant woman with her two small children and fiancé were roughed up by police at gunpoint over petty theft at the dollar store. And a new article highlights how one policeman in Baltimore is raking in the dough while putting himself on a hair trigger. We'll explain all that with our next guest, D. Watkins. He is an award-winning professor and editor-at-large at Salon.com. D, always good to see you.
Hey, good seeing you.
First, let's talk about this footage out of Arizona. I mean, the police were called to the dollar store because this couple and their two small children, apparently the little girl, 4 years old, walked out with a doll. And then her fiance, I mean, we're picking up where they're trying to get the mom and her two small children out of the car. The police were called knowing that there was children present, and they're pulling them out by gunpoint. How can they do that?
They don't believe in humanity. It's no way they believe in humanity. You can't treat people like that, you know. I'm pretty sure they have children or children in their family,
right,
and they would not do their own families like that. That is crazy. Even if, you know, and the family is denying them, they're saying that they didn't steal. They're saying that they were just being profiled. So I don't care if they did it or if they didn't do it. There's a better way to handle it. I'm
totally with you on that. I mean, as a new mom myself, how could you, like you said, the humanity, color aside, theft aside, the police were called knowing that there was a pregnant woman. She is noticeably pregnant. There's no secret this woman is pregnant. She's got a 4-year-old in one hand and an infant in another arm, and they roll up, I mean, as if these people just robbed a bank. I mean, how do we keep seeing these videos over and over and over across the country? Every city you can imagine, there's videos like this. When are we going to be done with this?
You know, and it's sad because, you know, the mayor and their commissioner, they offered apologies, but it's always the same story. Are you sorry because of what they've done, or are you sorry because the world took notice?
Right.
And that's a problem. And to these people, to these officers, until it becomes a requirement for them to live in neighborhoods and communities that mirror where they police, we're going to see the same thing, because they don't see black people as people. They don't see poor people as people. There's zero empathy, and it's horrible. It's disgusting. All of those men should be ashamed of themselves.
I mean, it just broke my heart.
You know what's crazy? They probably feel like they did nothing wrong. They feel like they did nothing wrong.
And you penned an article about this other police officer in Baltimore, right, that's literally raking in the dough. Tell us about that particular incident, or this officer, I should say.
So this officer, he's a Sergeant Newberg. He works out in West Baltimore, and he was arresting a man, and he had a man sitting on the ground. It was raining outside, so, you know, the cement was wet. So a person walked past and said, "Hey, why do you have that guy sitting on the ground? You know, that's harassment because it's wet." This officer flipped and went out of control, and he tackled this person, and he put the handcuffs on him, and he said, "Now you're going to jail, now you're going to jail." And one of his partners said, "Look," he said, "calm down, man, calm down. It's not that serious." And he said, "You better not ever tell me how to do my job, ever." You know,
he flipped on his partner.
He flipped on his partner. He flipped on everybody, and he took the guy to jail. And now he's arrested where he belongs.
But explain to us why he was on this hair trigger, because and why he's making so much money.
So there's a rule that bosses, and he was a sergeant, they're not supposed to work that many hours. They're supposed to have some time off.
Double, triple, quadruple overtime?
He makes around $100,000 a year, but he took home around, the number was $241,000.
Wow.
So this guy worked
$250,000.
He worked enough for everybody.
$250,000.
And the source told me that the guy has some trouble going on in his personal life, and he'll work a night shift, and then everyone will go home, and then he'll stay and he'll work a day shift. And he does this all of the time. So he's raking in the dough to take care of his personal problems, to take care of himself and whatever's going on in his personal life. And then he's projecting all of that negative energy, the sleep deprivation, and any and everything else on people.
Right. And you're going to snap at people. I mean, I don't have coffee. I mean, I don't want to talk about that. But this is, I mean, somebody who works back to back shifts. You're dealing with the community, and sometimes people with like maybe a mental disability, like the next case I want to talk about, the Corona Costco shooting. An off-duty, armed police officer shopping with his own family in Costco shoots a mentally disabled man who's nonverbal, and shoots that man's mother and father who ran to his aid. Now the police, the LA County Sheriffs and LAPD are investigating, but the officer's name has not been released. There's no details being released. The badge is obviously protecting the badge, and that's what we're seeing. We're only hearing from the victim side. At what point are the police going to own up and say this guy was on his own hair trigger and shot a disabled man, killed a disabled man?
So the first thing that police need to do across the board is to acknowledge that the people who you're shooting and the people who you are harassing are the people who you work for. This public service, you serve the public. You're not,
I think I've seen that on cars, right? The police cars.
It's not
to serve the community.
It's not target practice. And then the second thing is, I'm not an expert on mental health, but I feel like these guys need therapy. If you
maybe
can
PTSD, right?
You suffer as a police officer.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you deal with enough suicides, enough shootings. You've seen some things, so you're dealing with a certain amount of PTSD, and I think they need to incorporate that into their jobs. That's the only thing I can think of, because again, there's a lack of humanity, which is why so many people, unarmed people, are being shot. And then you're shooting at families, and then you're waving guns at children, and then you're locking up people for just walking past freedom of speech. That is a thing. And all of this happened in 1 week.
Right.
This is just 1 week.
It's been a bad week for the boys in blue.
And these are the cases that went viral. Imagine the stuff that we don't see.
Yeah.
Imagine the cops who cut their body cameras off, or who aren't really required to wear body cams, and what they're doing.
Well, speaking of things we can't see, we also cannot see the government numbers on deaths in police custody. Why do you think they're not releasing those numbers right now?
Because it was scared the public. It was scared. It's shocking. I know at one point there was a number in 2015, there was a stat that said an unarmed person was being killed by a police officer a person was being killed by a police officer every 28 hours. I can only imagine what it is right now. And they're sick of these cases going viral, and they're sick of losing public trust, which is already shot. In some communities, people swear by police, and they should, because police protect and serve them, and they come to the cookouts, and they hang out, and it's, Officer Jim's a good guy. Where I come from, people can't stand the police. Out of every 20 cops you come across, there's like one who will say, "Hey, how you doing? I hope you have a great day."
There's a reason.
There's a reason. So, if you hide the numbers and you don't make these things available to the public, then you can continue to push that narrative that all cops are heroes and they're here to help. Right. And they do help some people. They just don't help people who are poor and oppressed. Right.
And the bad apples exist, and the police have done kind of a bad job at holding them accountable. Right?
They had
at least this week.
Horrible PR right now. And, again, like I said, if we're really going to have reform and make this a real conversation, because this cop who we were talking about in Baltimore's on a consent decree. So if they're supposed to be getting rid of people like that, those actions aren't supposed to exist. We're supposed to be having these community conversations so that these two groups can come together, and it's just not happening. It's not happening. We see the same things going on over and over again. And, again, police officers need to live in places that mirror where they work, and we also need to figure out how to get these guys some therapy, because they are bonkers.
All right, we will leave it right there. D. Watkins, always appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.